like about living in Prickwillow? What makes it a great place to live in?
Well, I'm obviously here because I work here,
Yeah.
and you know it goes back through generations of my family, so I feel I have a connection. But it's a very quiet, peaceful place these days, and with big open spaces, it's typical of a fen village. You know, you can look out the window and see for miles, and the big skies, which attracts people here.
And do you like living in Prickwillow?
Love it. Love it.
Why is that?
Well, it's very much my background, rural. I had rural jobs in my youth, you know, herdswoman, that sort of thing, kennel maid. So to me, I feel comfortable in this sort of environment.
Okay.
And also we can grow our own veg. I love being in a community because having been here this long, I know a lot of people.
The parish of Ely consists of a number of surrounding villages, of which Prickwillow is one. So it is part of the parish of Ely.
Right. Okay, so how would you see this link between Prickwillow and Ely City Council developing over time?
A much closer link, I hope. If we're not careful, because they're sort of down the road a little bit, we can easily forget them. But I'm trying very hard to ensure that their council, which is not an official council, but
their village council,
links in as closely as possible to the City of Ely Council.
Right.
We've had representation in the past, but that is not assured forever in the future. So as a consequence, we have to work even harder to create that link.
So can you tell me about the speed, the volume of traffic? Do you think there's a traffic problem in the village?
I think there is a traffic problem. We're a bit out of the way down here on the farm, but the main street up by the playground up outside the village hall, if you want to get to it, you've got to go up the very narrow path, and although it's supposed to be a 30-mile limit, it's quite a long straight up there. People tend to go a lot faster. I have to get out of the junction here at the end of the road with my agricultural vehicles, which is quite a challenge sometimes. People coming both ways very fast. If you've got a tractor and a trailer and you're trying to pull out onto the main road, you know, people, yes, it is. I think a lot of people do have issues with it, especially small children and perhaps older people walking up the pavements. It is a bit hairy.
The main thing is the traffic. I actually got knocked over in Main Street a few years ago.
Did you?
Yeah, I got walking on the pavement, walking up towards the bridge. Something felt something hit my shoulder, and down I went, and got cuts and bruises. And it was a white van, and it got one of these long mirrors, you know,
Big sticky
rear view mirror sticking out. Of course, it's a very narrow pavement.
We've looked at various solutions, and we've got the 30-mile-an-hour flashing sign, but people don't always take any notice of that. I think the sleeping policeman route would frustrate me a little bit with my tractors and trailers, because it would be very bumpety, and it's difficult. Some people have suggested having perhaps a bit of different coloured tarmac, say red or something like that, as a sign that, you know, something may be happening here at each end of the village. So sometimes that seems to work, and people notice that more than we've had suggestions of a traffic light system, whereby if you're seen to be speeding, there's a traffic light in the middle of the village, and it goes red, so you have to stop.
Yeah. And what do you consider to be Prickwillow's biggest challenge at the moment?
Well, we do have some traffic problems, and I think we need to look at ways and means of resolving that. What's impressed me more than anything is the need for broadband, because if it's going to grow economically and people working more and more from home, that's absolutely essential. I think we're aware of people who've come and then left simply because they can't get broadband connections.
Yeah, we have heard of people that are saying that in particular their son has left because he wants to work from home, and now he's had to move into Ely. And it does seem to be a major problem there. What do you think that the City Council could do to help Prickwillow in this issue?
Well, we can certainly lobby in the right direction, and we've already done some of that. But to keep the pressure on and see whether or not we can ensure that if we're being promised 100% broadband across the whole of the country, then we want our bit of the share of that too.
Who do you think who would you lobby in order
Well,
to
we've
do
certainly
that?
lobbied already district councillors. We now understand that the county council has the appropriate funds, so as a consequence we were contacting them.
Yeah, I mean the funds for the county council, a lot of it seems to be about increasing the speed, doesn't it?
Yes.
I don't. Have you had any reaction from them yet?
No, it's early days,
Yeah.
but we need to keep that pressure on, and we need to make them aware of the difficulties and the problems. After all, we're going to have more houses and so on and so forth. We need to actually make sure the proper infrastructure's there, and broadband's part of that infrastructure.
I mean, what's your opinion on the broadband situation? Would you want to?
Well, how can I say really polite?
Have you got a message you'd like to send anyone?
We pay £38 a month, that's including VAT, for the most abysmal. It's marginally better than dial-up.
Right, and what's that you're?
It's supposed to be 2 megs, but
right.
the only time you can get that is sort of about 2 in the afternoon.
Right.
You can't even get it in the morning because I'm a very poor sleeper. I can come in here at 2 o'clock in the morning and I still can't get decent reception because that's when people download their big documents or their videos or whatever.
It does affect me more and more with the business situation. We're expected to do more and more online, and we have opportunities obviously to do banking and do sort of VAT returns and all this sort of thing online, and we are frustrated by our lack of sort of mainline broadband facility.
Well, we touched on the shop.
Yes.
Now, obviously, village shops are closing left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
And you had a shop.
We had a shop.
And you've got the issue you can't shop by broadband, obviously.
We didn't difficult. I mean, you can at a slow pace.
Yeah, slow pace. But so I mean, there was some interest expressed by people about they would like a shop in the village.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how feasible that is. I mean, what are your feelings on that?
I think it's something that, as a village council, again, we looked at probably 2 or 3 years ago, and similarly, few people expressed an interest in having a shop. But the last village shop couldn't function because there just wasn't enough, people. If 8 people want a shop and they want a pint of milk once a fortnight, you can't function at that level. If there's a shop there when you need it, that's great, but often you don't. Because of the issues we've spoken about, most people drive out of the village every day. I go and pick my kids up from the station, my wife goes to work, a lot of other people are the same, and I think there are issues for people who don't drive, or who, if you want a pint of milk or something, it seems a waste of time having to get in your car and drive 10-mile round trip. But I can't see how it would function. We looked at it, and it may be easier to have some sort of system whereby people who would like stuff have a list and somebody goes and gets it and delivers it back again. Even newspapers or something like that, there are people back and forth every day, and it's just organising something like that.
We have to have a car.
Yeah.
Because there's no public transport, taxis are too expensive.
Village Hall's a lovely village hall. Does it get used enough, do you think?
Well, does it get used enough? Probably it could be used more. I think it is well used. One of the ideas I've had that didn't take off really was that perhaps just one morning a month you could just open it up and have perhaps mums with young kids and retired people, whoever, just open it up as a sort of coffee shop for the morning once a month, and anyone who wants to go and have a natter could do so, because that only needs one person in there making tea and coffee.